Let's be honest, we all make some mistakes at some point in our lives. 是吧？犯错是难免的，但道歉又是一门学问了。我们今天收集了一些 do's and don'ts， 希望来跟大家分享，怎么道歉才是最真诚的方式。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. CEOs can be wonderful presenters and speech givers. They can also be absolutely terrible at apologizing. Over the past year, we've done breakdowns of poor apologies like the Better.com CEOs, and we've talked about apologies done right, including a breakdown of Will Smith's apology, both in podcast form and also Premium got a really strong analysis by Andrew. Today, we want to talk about how do you apologize after a crisis, after something goes poorly or badly inside the company. What are the signs of a good apology and what makes an apology bad?
那在今天的单元呢，我们就收集了一些最糟糕的 apologies。那这一些呢 ，you'll be surprised， 其实你常常听到这些道歉的方式。那当然，我们也会来分享一些好的抱歉，去跟人家道歉的一些做法或者一些说法。So some don'ts and some do's.
As a continuation of an earlier episode where we talk about what a spokesperson of a company has to do, we looked up the rules of how spokespeople or PR suggest going about apologizing. And then we found a few examples of celebrities or other company leaders doing apologies poorly. So today we want to share a bit with you of how this works. And let's start with what are the types of apologies you can very obviously tell are not genuine. The first type, of course, is the too brief apology, when someone says nothing more than sorry.
Yeah, I think when you heard someone said sorry, 好像没有讲完的感觉 like, and then? Like you're waiting for someone to kind of finish that thought. Like, sorry about what, right?
Yeah, I think that's always the key question, like, sorry for what? It's kind of like if anyone has children, a lot of times it'd be like, are you sorry? Yes. What are you sorry about? That I said something back to you. Are you really sorry? Uh-huh.
Yeah, that definitely happens with me and my daughter. 有的时候我还在生气，然后 you know 女儿就会觉得妈妈生气要赶快来道歉。I'm so sorry, mommy. Okay, what are you sorry about? 然后他就讲不出来了like completely forgot. So yeah, these like really brief 非常短的 sorry 其实是不太够的。
Now, the second type of sorry that usually doesn't appease people or doesn't come across as very genuine is the I'm sorry, but. And as we always say, is anything that comes after the but is the actual point. Anything before but, it doesn't count.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but 像这样子的 apologies 呢，基本上这个人并没有在 apologize, right? I'm sorry 它只是一个想说好像在这个场景我必须要讲个 I'm sorry 但是重点是在后面他想要来 say something or just explain you know why they're doing this and why they said something so that's not a real apology.
Now the third type of apology is something that you actually see celebrities do quite often.
A lot, yes.
Which is the blaming apology where they say I'm sorry you feel this way. But essentially it's more like, I'm sorry for your emotions, but I'm not sorry about what I did.
Exactly. 刚刚 Nick 有讲的像这样子的讲法有很多的一些有名的人celebrities 他们可能是 influencers you see a lot of like YouTubers like doing apology I'm sorry video, right? 所以很多人他们都是这样讲说 I'm sorry you feel offended or I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel bad. But again, 他只是 sorry 说你感受是这个样子，但是呢这个并不是说 I'm sorry 因为我做了什么而造成这件事情。
Yeah, it's mostly I'm sorry that you had this reaction, but I'm not sorry for the action. And then that's where that disingenuous. Probably the most famous poor apology of this example would be, if anyone remembers, like early 2000s, Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson did the Super Bowl halftime show. And at the very end, like he had grabbed her shirt and then it exposed her chest. And then he gave an apology where he actually said, I apologize if you guys are completely offended.
Yeah, absolutely. 所以在那件事情发生之后呢，其实后来就陆陆续续蛮多的人对 Justin 这个道歉的方式其实还蛮反感的，因为那件事情发生了之后 Janet Jackson 她反而就突然间好像被人家 blacklist. Like she actually couldn't come out for like a lot of shows, right? She had to be very quiet for a long time. 但是 Justin Timberlake 完全没有受影响。It was like nothing happened to him. He still got an award. 然后他在得奖的时候他来做这个 apology. So it just seems it's just not genuine.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of a phrase in my family that we would use where we would say, I apologize, but I am not sorry.
No. Please don't do that.
All right, let's move on to the fourth one. The fourth one is something that's very subtle, but that you'll see people use this a lot, especially Cher's talking about influencers love to use this all the time, which is the self-effacing apology. The self-effacing apology will sound something like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm such a screw-up. But what makes this difficult, and when you look back on it, why it's such a problem, is because someone is apologizing. And it sounds like they're recognizing their failure. But the reality is they're trying to change the sympathy from them showing that they feel bad to them trying to make you feel bad for them. Right? So you stop being angry at that person for something that they did and be like, oh, it's okay. Oh, you're fine. No. It was me. I reacted too harshly. So it's not a real apology. It's just trying to change the roles.
Right. 所以这有点是利用人家的同情心啦，就是说 Oh, I'm so sorry. I had such a horrible day. I'm a terrible person. 有很多这样子的一些 apologies 呀，但是通常他们所希望就是能够让人家来同情自己 right? But again, they're missing the point of apologizing.
Right. So again, like when it comes to KOLs and influencers, you'll hear this a lot. Be like, oh, we didn't know. It was just, no one told us, or our publicist didn't let us know. And so we're in this bad position. We're really so sorry. Be like, no, no one should feel bad for you. Either apologize genuinely or don't.
Now, the last one, it's an overly repeated apology. I'm sorry. Yeah,
but then this is back to that first one, which is sorry for what?
Yeah. 我觉得通常会这样子 apologize, 我觉得稍微会比较像小朋友吧. We're like a little bit immature and they just really want everything to be over. 就是好像要赶快让这件事情结束. So they go like, I'm sorry.
Now that we've examined the hallmarks of a bad apology, let's turn around and look at what are the signs of a quality apology, or how do you build one? There are 5 quick bullet points that come across as a good apology. The first one is simply timing. Apologize as soon as possible so resentment doesn't build. Don't apologize because you notice the other person is about to have a meltdown.
Absolutely. 所以当然这个时间点就是非常的重要，有的时候呢不要等太久啦。那我觉得这个部分它可能是比较比如说是对外 external, like a company, if you have done something on behalf of your company and you need to apologize, let's say to your clients, okay? And I think this is really important that you do it as soon as possible. 但我必须得说如果是跟家人啊 in your personal life 这个时间呢我觉得你大概可以抓一下，有的时候我反而觉得 人家还 emotional 的时候 let it sit a little bit
Yes, again, this depends on the context and where you're coming from, but it can definitely go back against you. For example, early in Uber's history, they had a data breach that they did not report publicly, and it took them about a year to report that personal data had been stolen, and the backlash of that was very, very severe. So again, don't wait until resentment builds up, or don't blindside someone much later.
Yeah.
The second key rule is start with the word I. If you're apologizing, if you're saying sorry, it should come from you. And this is also back to the not just start with I, but throughout the point, it should be a reflection on you of what you have done, what you are improving. And this goes against that reverse where we're talking about like, I'm sorry you feel this way. Then that is, again, shifting the direction of where the apology is going. But it should stay within I.
Now, the next step is to specifically mention the action you regret. So again, 刚刚Nick有讲嘛，我们讲了 I, right? 我们的 focus 是在我做了什么。So I, 那你就讲了一些到底有什么事情你是希望不会再发生的 something that you actually regret.The
next piece, acknowledge the impact of your actions on the other person. So it's one thing to be specific about what you're apologizing for, but understanding how that affects the other person, whether it was disappointment, frustration, anger, sadness, etc. Now, this doesn't mean I'm sorry that you feel this way, but it's more along the lines of I'm sorry for doing this thing and that it affected you.
Right. I think that's really important. I'm sorry, 因为为什么 I'm sorry, and then how this affects you. I think that's a really important. Instead of saying, I'm sorry you feel this way, I'm sorry it made you feel that way. 所以我觉得当然采取像这样子的方式的话，你比较清楚的能够讲出你为什么想要道歉，还有呢，能够同理人家的一些感受。
So there's a subtle difference there between I'm sorry this affected you and I'm sorry for what I've done and how it affected you. That what I've done piece is important, but it is still good to recognize what it has done to the other person.
Yeah.The
last one, and this is almost true of anything you do, is that action plan. What steps are you taking to make up for what happened? Describe what you plan to do to prevent the problem from happening again, or how you're going to make amends. When you listen to our Better.com CEO speech, we talked about this main point a lot. And we pointed out the difference when a Kickstarter campaign, for example, has very specific follow actions versus a Kickstarter campaign that just says, we're sorry for the delay, just deal with it. And that sentiment, that feeling makes a huge difference in how people perceive your apology.
没错，那最后一个步骤真的是非常的重要。如果今天你是要写一个 apology letter， 然后要是面对客户啊 user consumers， 那这个部分你的 action plans how are you going to make things better 就变成非常重要的一环。 So I think Nick mentioned this， 有很多的公司 they fail to deliver the results, especially for a lot of Kickstarter campaigns, and how they make amends and what sort of action they planned out really matters here. And this will affect if the customer will return the next time.
Well, we hope that you learned from our series on what makes an apology feel disingenuous versus what makes an apology feel genuine. The next time that you see a major corporation or a celebrity apologize, keep these ideas in mind, and then you can decide, was that a good apology or a bad one? We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production. Produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.